360 cameras are honestly pretty incredible, but when it comes to the new Insta360 X4, is it worth upgrading from the older X3? Today, I'm going to compare both cameras side by side to help you decide. I'll go through the design, the features, and of course the all-important image quality. Hopefully this will help you if you're already a long-time owner of the X3 or if you've never used a 360 camera before, so you don't have to spend more money than you need to. And at the end of the comparison, I'll give you my honest thoughts on whether or not it's worth upgrading. And just so you know, this video isn't sponsored by Insta360, but I was sent these cameras for review. Alright, so let's talk about the overall design of the two cameras. Now, when you're looking at both cameras side by side, the design changes are relatively subtle. It's essentially the same form factor for both cameras, but the X4 is just a little bit bigger now. This includes its height and thickness, and it also has a slightly different texture on the front, which I think is designed to help it be a bit more grippy and potentially help dissipate heat. I actually really like it. I think it feels nice, but it's a relatively minor change. All of the ports and buttons are identical. They're all in the same places, and you've got all the same connections. The X4 now weighs about 20 grams more at around 200 grams, while the X3 is 180 grams. The X4 also has a slightly larger touchscreen, which is always welcome. It's always nice to be able to see more of what you're doing. And then the last major change on the X4 is the fact that both lenses now have threads on them so that you can attach accessories like external lens guards, which is a really nice addition. And overall, to me, these design changes are nice additions. They're nice to have, but they're definitely not drastic upgrades. It's not like you're getting whole new features with the X4 over the X3. However, one thing that is drastically different is my focus since I've been using Magic Mind. Magic Mind is a nootropic mental performance shot designed to keep you focused and calm throughout the entire day using all natural ingredients. I've been using Magic Mind consistently for about 6 months now, and to be honest, at first I was a little bit skeptical, but after just a week I was convinced. Instead of relying on multiple hits of caffeine throughout the day, I was now able to just start my day with a coffee and let Magic Mind do the rest. With Magic Mind, I find I'm able to better maintain mental focus for the full workday, and at times even well past 5 p.m. without any caffeine jitters or negative effects on my sleep. And to me, it's more than just about the mental focus and energy. It's about the ability to better achieve my goals of building a successful YouTube channel. Magic Mind has been a game changer for me in maintaining my mental focus and therefore productivity, while also allowing me to stay creative. If you're looking for a natural way to enhance your productivity and well-being, I highly recommend giving Magic Mind a go to see if it's right for you. And if you use my discount code that's in the description, you can get up to 48% off your first order. My code is NICK20, that's NICK20, and the link is magicmind.com/NickK20 to grab your own bottles and try it for yourself. Alright, so let's talk a bit about the new features in the X4 compared to the X3. So when it comes to the different shooting modes, you've got all of the same shooting modes as the X3 has, with the addition of a free frame mode, which is very similar to what you've got on the Go 3 or the Ace Pro. This allows you to choose your aspect ratio in post, which can come in really handy. Now, the main new feature that's being promoted a lot with the X4 is the fact that it can shoot in 8K. And I'm going to talk a bit more about that in the next section when I talk about image quality, but that is nice to have, and I have been quite impressed. Next, you've got gesture control on the X4, and this brings it up to date with all of the newer Insta360 cameras. They all seem to support that nowadays. And this can be really handy, especially when you've got it extended on a selfie stick. This lets you start and stop video recording as well as take photos. You can now also cancel recording so that you don't want to save just by holding down the record button. Next, we've got a timed capture mode, so you can just set the camera to turn itself on at a predetermined time and record in a predetermined mode, which could actually come in really handy for shooting things like early morning sunrises and things like that, where you don't want to have to get up and worry about turning your camera on. Plus, you've got a couple of extra features for people who use motorbikes, like a broader range of Bluetooth headset support, plus an auto dash cam mode that automatically turns on with your motorbike. And then lastly, the battery life on the X4 is rated to be quite a bit better, with the X3 giving you 81 minutes of record time, while the X4 is supposed to give you 135 minutes, which is 67% longer. And you can definitely tell with the battery sizes that the X4 has the bigger battery. Now, let's talk about arguably the most important thing, which is the image quality. And as I mentioned, the 8K image processing on the X4 has been promoted as kind of the biggest draw card to the camera, but it's not just the video mode that has received an upgrade. It applies to a range of the different modes. So in the time-lapse mode on the X3, you were capped at 8K, while on the X4 you've now got 11K. In slow motion, the X3 could do 3K, 2K 100 frames per second, while the X4 can do 4K 100 frames per second. In the me mode, the X3 was capped at 1080-60, while the X4 can now record it in 4K up to 30 frames per second. With the time shift mode, the X3 was limited to 5.7K, while the X4 now supports 8K. And then finally, on the X3, the bullet time mode was capped at 4K 120 or 3K 180, while on the X4 you can record at 5.7K 120 or 3K 240, which is nice to have. On top of all of that, the bitrate has actually jumped significantly from the X3 to the X4, with the X3 coming in at 120 megabits per second, while the X4 supports 200 megabits per second. And that leads me to the image quality comparison between the two cameras. Overall, in my experience, the X4 image quality is just generally a lot better. When I was initially exporting my X3 footage after exporting my X4 footage, I'd actually wondered if I had the X3 in the wrong color profile. Maybe I had it in logged because the color was just so much duller than the X4. And for reference, I shot all of these videos just in the standard color profile on both cameras with all automatic settings. But as you can see, overall, the color honestly looks so much better. It looks so much more natural and true to life. The X3 definitely looks quite a bit duller. And it's kind of surprising because I already thought the X3 image quality was decent, but seeing the upgrade on the X4 definitely makes me appreciate what the newer camera can do. There's also better contrast overall, I would say, with the X4, with the blacks on the X3 looking a little bit washed out. And then that increased bitrate, I think, makes a really big difference. Pixelization on the X3 was definitely a bit of a problem, especially when you zoomed in, but you could even see it if you were zoomed out from time to time, depending on the lighting situations. Whereas with the X4, that pixelation is virtually gone, especially in bright light conditions, which means you just get overall cleaner shots. And they're also more versatile because you can zoom in further than you could with the X3. I also noticed in certain modes, the dynamic range is a bit better. I noticed it the most in the time-lapse mode. As you can see with this sunset time-lapse, that the dynamic range is quite a bit better, but I didn't necessarily notice this in every mode. I also did some low light testing because I know a lot of you are really curious about that with these cameras. And I would actually say that the low light performance hasn't really improved with the X4. It's about the same. However, you do get some of those benefits of the upgraded camera, including better color and better contrast. But it's still really not designed as a low light camera anyway. It's definitely more designed for outdoor use in bright light. So lastly, should you upgrade from the X3 to the X4? And look, to be honest, I think if you have the X3 already and you're happy with it, does what you need it to, then I don't necessarily think you need to go and upgrade to the X4 straight away. The X4 is clearly the best 360 camera that Insta360 has produced yet, but I'd argue that it's more of an incremental upgrade than a full-blown new feature upgrade. So if you're happy with the features on the X3 and do what you want, then you might not necessarily need the X4. However, if you're someone who really wants the ultimate in image quality and you want to maximize the picture that you're getting, especially if you're using it in more professional environments, then the X4 could be worth it for you. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think it's worth upgrading to the X4? Are you going to stick with your X3, or are you going to get a different camera altogether? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to check out Magic Mind using the link in the description. And if you order an Insta360 camera using my link below, you'll get a free accessory with your purchase. And if you have decided to get the X4, but you want to know what accessories to get for it, then check out this video here where I talk about what I think are my favorite X4 accessories.